Hey, Boj, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Yeah, you're pronouncing it right. How are you?
All right. Yeah, so your sound is coming into the stream. I hope it's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine with me.
Right.
You're
Yeah, I haven't
working on
tried like
image
video yet.
preparation?
I could put you somewhere. I don't know, Nick. Image compression. Yeah, I was just looking at
Okay. You're using
looking mainly at
LabVIEW.
this mammogram image, and yeah, it's all LabVIEW. I do normally do the same in MATLAB as well. So I'm actually looking
Okay.
at the MATLAB code that does the same thing. MATLAB is better at like
Yep.
explaining, for example, this PSNR and things. They have better documentation. Hopefully,
Yes,
I'm
that's
not
right.
infringing any copyright things by showing this. That's the
I don't think so. This would be
and
publicly
it's actually
available.
came up. Sorry.
It should be publicly available information, so it
Yeah, I mean
shouldn't.
it's all publicly available. So well, yeah. I mean you're showing copyrighted like logos and things that I don't think I'm allowed to do whatever. Like yeah, for education purposes should be okay, but
Yes. Interesting. Okay.
it's
That's
always
good.
a tricky business. I can hear you coming through the stream. I wanna hear you through Zoom itself.
Oh, that's why it's delaying. I see.
Yeah, that's a bit annoying. Yeah, I'm just trying to, because normally I can like oops, monitor the sound, but then there's still a delay, just like a shorter delay.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's delays all around.
Yeah.
I have to turn on this monitoring for and this application audio capture. So I'm capturing the sound from Zoom, and it's in beta. I didn't know that. I thought it would be working. Well, it seemed to work. Okay, so now I should hear you um, with less delay.
Hopefully.
Ah, yeah,
Hopefully, yes.
now I think it's a bit better, but yeah.
Great. Are you
Yeah,
planning to use this video for publishing or it is just for your record?
it's being published as we speak. So it's on
Okay,
my
okay.
it's my YouTube channel. I just originally I was like editing videos, and I still trying to do it, but it just takes so long, it takes forever. So I'm just
Hmm.
it takes me like double, triple the time because you have to like watch the same video. So if I'm doing something for
Yes, that's right.
2 or 3 hours, then it takes me to edit it into ideally 3 or 4 minutes. Will take me like 3 or 4 days. So it's like the time, the cost
Hmm.
benefit analysis, like for the time you spend, just it doesn't worth it most of the time.
Yeah, that's that's
But
that's a good idea.
but it's been quite an experience. Yeah, I realized like that you just stare into your computer screen a lot. Well, not you, I do.
Hmm.
And out of like 2 hours, you only get like 2 minutes worth of something, you know, that you will be, proud like sharing with others. But yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, you can edit later.
Yeah, so the problem with the YouTube editor is very rudimentary. I think it's just designed. Yeah, if you had some sort of copyright. So, for example, if MathWorks
Oh,
contacting
I
me and
see, I
saying
see.
you showed something on the screen and you shouldn't have, or something like say, a logo, and they don't like it, even though they should
Hmm.
be okay with it, but you never know. So then I can go to the video and just edit that, 1 second of me showing, something,
I
copyrighted
see.
thing, because I think a lot of the examples and stuff, like obviously like PSNR would have been published. Those
Yes.
images have been like everywhere. I mean, LabVIEW uses the same images. It's interesting because I remember like being at uni whatever 10 years ago, and we would
Hmm.
when learning MATLAB we would use the same images, and they would be everywhere, like in all other software packages. So Yeah, I was looking
Oh,
at this one, the wavelet. So this one is good because you can actually have a lot of control over what wavelet. What are they called?
discrete wavelet transfer.
It is a discrete wavelet transfer, supposedly. I think, like,
Oh, the
yeah,
Davis is. Uh,
yeah. I mean, so yeah, I only use whatever I have like full source code for, because sometimes in LabVIEW you will go into some of these functions and then something will be. So a lot of the times they will be calling some sort of Windows API or something,
okay, I see.
or
Yeah.
like a C language function. So I don't want to use those because it's like, well, first I don't understand it. Second, there's no documentation for it. Yeah, in LabVIEW
Why do you
it's
prefer LabVIEW instead of MATLAB?
I just more like of a visual person. So like it's easier for me
Mm.
to like stuff that will take me like a very long time in MATLAB. I can just do very quickly. Yeah, I mean, MATLAB is also improving a lot with those. I wish I could use like text to speech because I can't read like this. There's just so much text that they're putting in all these things. I can't possibly. So I'm always using like text to speech. I can't write as well, so I'm using speech to text. So actually, YouTube is actually quite
Mm-hmm.
good at transcribing my videos. I actually use them as blog posts as well on my website.
I see. I
So
see. That's interesting.
so yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
eventually I want to put those tools up here. I mean, again, there's like a copyright thing where I don't know how much, but because I have the source code, I can change. Yeah, so those tools were
Yeah.
originally started as MATLAB or LabVIEW examples, but yes, they've been obviously this user interface is custom.
Okay.
But yes, I started off some LabVIEW example. Yeah, so it's using LabVIEW functions like converse, FFT, transform, and some
Mm-hmm.
other numeric VIs and functions. And yeah, some of them, like you will use a LabVIEW function and you can tell they don't care about it because there will be like no documentation, no mention of it.
Yeah. The lab.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I don't prefer
Oh,
LabVIEW.
documentation wise, yeah. So especially, so LabVIEW had this biomedical data toolkit that they made back in like, I think they started making it back in like 2012. And then there
Mm-hmm.
was, because there was an update to 2013, 14, and I think 15 they just abandoned it. And a lot of I mean, the functions still work. A lot of them, yeah. Eventually, I want to compare them to like side by side to MATLAB things. So, for example, yeah, this statistical analysis, like the entropy calculation here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is again all LabVIEW. You can select your input wave, so it's working nicely. Yeah, the interface is good.
Oh,
There
that's
was
pretty nice.
a couple of problems with it, that some of the signals are not calibrated. So say EEG,
Okay.
it's between what is it, -4 and 4. But
Mm-hmm.
then some other ones they go of -1,000 to +1,000. So then your those graphs will. I mean, you can refresh. Yeah, the LabVIEW thing had like a refresh button where you can clear it. I think the LabVIEW thing just gave you one value. So for example, here if I switch between ECG and EEG, then just one test of it. So yes, it will tell you like the mean with confidence levels.
I see. Yeah.
Then your standard deviation, again, confidence limits for both. Like I just switched between 1 and 2. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It became too complicated because this one will record the whole session. It will just, so as you keep changing things, it will keep adding values to here. So this will calculate like skewness and kurtosis. Problem was entropy calculation, which was the main reason I was doing this. Because we're just trying to learn how to calculate entropy and stuff. And yeah, there was a huge difference between LabVIEW and MATLAB to the point of like that's the difference. And apparently like the LabVIEW one was just not calibrated. And so the LabVIEW one had more options. Like with entropy calculation, you could select your Shannon, Schur, norm, energy, whatever, like different types of entropy calculation.
Entropy.
The MATLAB one is, it seems like MATLAB is a bit like like it tells you this is how you calculate entropy. This is the equation, and it doesn't give
You do it by
you
yourself.
many. Yeah, and it does it, and it gives you this one number. So I guess So I like comparing the two, but just in this case, so this will be the MATLAB one. That's the second one, the in black, and that actually makes sense for. So essentially, it tells you that what are we now in ECG? That entropy for ECG is lower than for EEG, which makes sense, and the numbers make sense, like they're around, what is it, between 0.6, 0.2. So this kind of makes sense. It's just that when you add the LabVIEW one, so first you can have the different calculations. Anyway, eventually I realized that it's potentially just not calibrated or something. Yeah, I just don't know enough of the math behind it to tell. But yes, it's way off, right? Like it's in the
Yeah, it's like really
yeah,
bad. I mean, different.
yeah, it's very different. But then some of the numbers will be like very different as well, because it gets just so whoever made it in LabVIEW is just read some sort of equation in a book and then made all the things that they didn't know about, essentially made them as parameters, as input parameters. Whereas the MATLAB
I
equation,
see.
I'm sure there will be multiple entropy MATLAB functions,
Mm-hmm.
but the main one doesn't give you any options. Sorry?
MATLAB has a lot of tools. Yeah, MATLAB has a lot of tools to do these things,
Yeah,
but
it's probably be another function that gives you more options. Yeah, but that the main one that it suggests you to use like just spits out one value, which
okay.
yeah, you will trust it more. But in terms of like understanding, how that I don't know which one's better in terms of like understanding, how the calculation was actually made or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to look for the documentation.
Well, right. So the documentation eventually, that's the thing. In LabVIEW documentation, sometimes they will just they'll just refer to some, go read this book. MATLAB will actually try and document it, but then it
Mm-hmm.
ends up in an whole list of equations. So what do you do with those? Like,
I see. Yeah.
sorry, I don't know if you're like a mathematician or something. I don't know what's your I can't understand those. So for me, I need something like this to actually try it out. Otherwise, I don't don't trust it. Yeah, I wanted to
I see.
improve this quite a bit. The first bunch of signal examples, their mean is within a certain range, so they're around -2 and 2. But then some other ones, as you go along, yes, this one I don't know why there's suddenly a jump in the mean. And some of them then go into much larger numbers, so then you don't see the difference here. So you need to I wanted to just normalize the input waveform just to be between -1 and 1 or something.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, I have to look in detail.
And I'm sure the same examples would have been used in MATLAB as well, because no, it's good that because I revisited like multiple times, but it's good because I get to understand it, try to understand it better myself. But a lot of these examples, they don't even tell where that signal is coming from, but I'm sure it's ones that been in some sort of data processing, like book published back in the 90s or something, and everybody using the same examples, because MATLAB will have the same same examples as well.
Okay.
But and now I'm also looking at like independent component analysis, or what's the other one you have?
Principal component.
Principal component. Yeah, that's probably I guess would be more complicated, wouldn't it? Than or they're just different.
I mean,
I don't know.
one look. Yeah, they're just different. I don't think they have. I mean, ICA is little complicated than PCA, but
Right.
But anyway, yeah, you can carry on with your work.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, no, I'm just looking at the current. So I have those. This one is almost ready as an API. I don't know if you're interested in this
Hmm.
kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of, you're trying to do more science, but you end up doing more engineering, which, you know, everybody with their own preferences. But yeah, I wish it would have been easier. Just in terms of publishing it, making it turn. So this one say already turned into an API. You can call
Hmm.
it on this address. I have to bring up the link for it. Should have the link for the API. It's on the same server, and I lost it. Just jump. It's this link here. So you can just plug it into any browser. And again, my APIs are not very well, they're not documented. So this one will take bits level 8 wavelet
Okay.
number. The image is, that's a weird number. I have to change that. And we'll spit out the JSON file of the PSNR for this specific input and original and reconstructed image. So you can use this as an API. And now, yesterday I was actually turning it into an API. So that's what you will use to call it. This is again a LabVIEW thing. It's a GE web development thing. That again, they discontinued as well. I'm pretty sure. I think some people will start arguing that no, it's an actual thing, but I think they will actually. So say this one is just a template like this. So this is calling
Yeah.
another API.
Hmm.
And yes, and that image is actually not an image. So this is an existing API. I don't know if you've seen it on the website. So the same thing is available on
Yeah,
this site.
I haven't done a lot of LabVIEW, but yes.
Right. So the purpose of it, because LabVIEW would be. So this is just available on
On the
like
website.
biochaos.com. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wait. So this one will be called, that's that spectrogram thing. Yeah, this one. It's a bit heavier one on my, because I'm hosting everything myself, and this one I actually want to
Hmm.
remove the play button just in case. Yeah, I was talking about it yesterday that I was testing. I don't know if you can. We probably at some stage you'll start hearing. Why is it not playing? There is a bug to it that if you scroll for too long, then
Okay.
when you hit play, it keeps sending API requests. I don't know
All right.
why it does it. Because this one is pretty responsive, like you can scroll through. This is like a 24-hour file EEG. It's a
Okay.
intracranial EEG. The data is available on this website, the ieg.org.
Hmm.
It's from an implant device, so the electrodes are on the surface of the brain. So you can overlay them, or there was like 8 electrodes on each hemisphere,
Wow.
8 electrodes on the left, 8 electrodes on the right, or you can just split them. I think that's kind of what most EEG review tools show
Did you
you
use
to.
MATLAB or which one for this?
I used MATLAB to export the data. So of this website, they actually had the old MATLAB API to
Okay.
fetch the data, but then I'm
Hmm.
converting it into what's called TTMS. It's a LabVIEW thing, like file format,
Okay. Hmm.
using that. But originally, it's actually designed to be used in MATLAB. But I kind
Okay.
of switch between them. In LabVIEW, I mean, you can have like just a box of MATLAB code. I'm not I'm not. So you can just put your MATLAB script in here and have
Okay.
your inputs and outputs like that, and do
Okay.
your MATLAB calculation. It's just for even if I start with something in MATLAB and put a script in here, eventually it's just easier to have that in a native LabVIEW just for compatibility's sake. Just because it's, say, if I'm turning it into an API, then it's just easier to have MATLAB native LabVIEW like native functions. Because otherwise, if you
that's good.
Yeah,
Easier.
because yes, because it could work if I had like MATLAB script in here and I was using it as an API. When you call my API, I have to make sure my MATLAB is up and running, which is a bit clunky, because for me to host this thing, when you call an API, any one of those tools, I don't have LabVIEW running. It's just turning
it still works without LabVIEW.
It works. There is a server. I'm spinning. Spanning. Like a API server.
Okay.
I think Python can do it. Well, Python can do anything, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's in LabVIEW, it's a native thing. Like you don't need like add-ons or anything. You can just this just available in MATLAB. I think I read some documentation that you can do it, but not sure if you need like another toolkit or there's always like another toolkit kind of problem. But so hopefully, this should come up. Well, I can. So I have the API running. So I should be able to. So this is just doing the API call. That's the API request, and I know it's spitting out the original image. And the images are double. No, they're actually single precision. So this should be. Where is it? Oh, come on. Yeah, this thing is like, it's very similar to LabVIEW. If you use like LabVIEW a lot, then this thing will seem totally bizarre. One main difference is that you can zoom in and out the window, which LabVIEW traditionally never. It was always a thing in LabVIEW that you couldn't zoom in and out. The idea was that you shouldn't make your thing more complicated than the size of the screen. So when I was using like LabVIEW a lot during like my PhD and postdoc and stuff, just get bigger screens or more screens.
Well, you did everything in your postdoc and PhD using LabVIEW?
Most of the stuff, yes.
Wow. Okay.
So MATLAB is like, I treat it like a fancy calculator. Whatever. I wouldn't for any like actual like automation purposes and things. Because I mean we always had gear connected to, so we always use this kind of stuff to connect our sensors and what's not testing devices. They now change the logo, so this is the old logo of the.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's actually disappearing in the.
No, I think it's just like microcontroller, right?
How do I show this thing so it?
Maybe you need to put your hand behind it. Yeah, that works.
No. Yeah, this. Now it works. Yeah, so that's DAC, digital to analog converters and stuff. So that's what we traditionally use to like test sensors or put equipment on burning in tests and stuff like that. So LabVIEW is it's kind of optimized for that, but then yes, I mean software wise, I do prefer it. Even with the lack of documentation, I'll still go LabVIEW. And no, I don't get any
sponsorship.
No, I don't get any sponsorship. I wish I did. They now were acquired. National Instruments just got acquired by what is it, Emerson, this big group.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So it's still to be seen what's gonna happen to LabVIEW. I think there's over the years I'm still using like older versions. I would you would know that I'm not sponsored by LabVIEW or National Instruments because I'm gonna say the following: is that if you're using LabVIEW, don't upgrade to newer versions. Like have it lock it in like 2020, 2021 or something version is because things just went a bit haywire since.
Yeah, I
Certain
used
things they
LabVIEW.
dropped.
Sorry, you
Sorry,
can
you
go
use
on.
LabVIEW and what?
Yeah, I used LabVIEW for a course called Signals and Systems, and that experience was not
Not
what I expected.
right. No, they used to
Yeah,
be really good. Like they used to be, yeah. I mean, yeah, you have a lot of like fans, LabVIEW fans. But yeah, if you ask them these days, I don't know. I would suspect most of
yeah,
their opinion kind
I didn't
of
prefer it.
shifted over the years. Like especially like in terms of LabVIEW, they did this whole big thing that they forked it into what they called LabVIEW NXG. That meant to be this actual.
Yes,
This is
yes, I
this is
think.
what actually this is parts of NXG. So NXG got like
Okay.
dropped. They
Mm-hmm.
discontinued it,
Mm-hmm.
and this one of the things that because they had a whole, I would imagine, like hundreds of software developers, software engineers, like making it. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
one of the good things that they kept was this integration. So this one will generate your HTML code and stuff.
Okay.
So it's
So it's just, but you
it's
don't
a
need to
really
know
powerful.
HTML.
Yeah, so this will generate HTML, JavaScript. That's what's on my website. It's really powerful tool. So, and it was part of
Yeah.
NXG.
Okay.
Traditionally, this should have replaced LabVIEW entirely, but at the moment I'm
Mm-hmm.
using creating the APIs using LabVIEW and then using this G web development, which creates the HTML and JavaScript,
Mm-hmm.
but calling the APIs. But some things you can actually do natively. I had this one, this EG signal generator was just working natively without an API. But then, yeah, that was the idea for it. So if they kept, improving it,
Mm-hmm.
you could have, in theory, so what is it, EG? Yeah, the first generation. I have one that is calling an API, which is more advanced. Yeah, I should remove those YouTube videos. So this one is calling a LabVIEW API. So all this filtering and stuff and the reconstruction of this. So it's like an EG generator. So this is
Okay.
all happening with
With-
LabVIEW API. Yet this one here, I don't know if it will still work. I need to drop it eventually. It's just generating noise.
Mhm.
This is all happening without an API, just natively within this thing,
Okay.
with this G web development. So originally, if they continued LabVIEW NXG, everything would have looked like this. You could have,
Mhm.
zoom in and out, which was a big change. But then a lot of this, they made quite a lot of improvements. They actually like rebuilt like LabVIEW from scratch, because essentially every LabVIEW version would have been, in addition to the previous one. This one isn't. This one was built from scratch. So they forked the project. It went for several years, and then they killed it. And
Yeah.
this one is just remnants, is essentially the way I see it. I don't know, again, there will be LabVIEW people that will start arguing that that's incorrect, whatever, but that's what happens with every product that is, has a huge fan base of
Mhm.
aficionados. But that's just my take on it, is that this G web development is just something that they repackaged, that was developed as part of LabVIEW NXG, and made a separate product out of it. But again, I don't think there were even any updates since like last year, and I'm pretty sure there would not be any. So that's the.
Then
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
and people say, "Oh no, it's a thing. It's like, oh, it's so great." But I'm like, yes, it's great, and it does a lot of things. It's quite limited as well. So say with this tool, I was able to do this without using an API, but I can't do essentially anything more complicated,
Hmm.
which is a bit unfortunate. because
Yeah.
originally, yeah, if I was using the LabVIEW NXG, which now National Instruments essentially says do not use because it's a
Mm-hmm.
discontinued product, then I would have been able to do like everything. So the idea was to have this noise and inject, like simulate EEG by injecting, seizure spikes or EMG noise or slow wave, sleep waveforms into it. But I'm not able. I mean, maybe someone will, but it is essentially limited. Yeah, you can see this list of functions is quite limited. So you can do basic maths and things, but
Mm-hmm.
it's maybe 10, 5, 10% of what LabVIEW has. It's probably would be more like 1% of what LabVIEW has. So a lot of like the filtering over there, it's not just not there.
Okay,
But
okay. Good to know, yeah. But okay. Anyway,
yeah, it's
yeah.
very basic.
I need to go to
Yeah,
have my dinner. I'll come back.
cool, cool.
Okay.
Sure, sure, sure.
You can continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
Sorry
yeah.
to disturb.
No worries. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, no, yeah, it's fine. It's fun. Okay,
Nice
see
one.
you. See you
See ya.
soon.
See ya. Bye. I'll just get back to this quickly. Um, it, so just revisiting, this is the original LabVIEW example. You can select your wavelet. The levels here is confusing. The beats is also confusing. The naming of it, because it's the first I saw it, I thought it just reducing the number of beats in the image, but no, it does way more than that. It's actually, yeah, and there is again no much documentation for this. It's just called a helper sub VI image compression, and it's using entropy based encoding techniques to reduce the bitrate of the wavelet coefficients and achieve image compression. So obviously it does a lot more than I originally thought. We do have the source code for it. Again, those are the good thing. So where would the entropy calculation be? Those are all basic LabVIEW functions, which is good because it will be essentially an equation that I can more or less understand. But where's the entropy calculation, for example? Can't really see it. There's not much math to it, so could be cleaned up a bit. Is this a bit better? And then try cleaning up separate components. Oh, it's quite a change. Which one do you like better? What's this one? Yeah, that one is different. Because this way it looks like there's still four, then three, and the original one. Yeah, so yeah, the way it obviously, well, this thing is an input. Normally you either put it in here or just there. Trying to understand this thing. Eventually Just have to remember not to save these changes because it's an actual LabVIEW in built-in example. So I don't wanna mess it too much. But yeah, this will need much more explanation if a decision don't save. We have those as outputs. Have this as inputs, the 4 inputs. That's what the API looks like as well. It has 4 inputs, 3 outputs. Let's just keep building the API and see what else we can learn. It's this one here. Wavelet filter, yes, that's the LabVIEW function is being used. That's the back panel for it. Sorry for jumping around. Have to stop doing that. We want so we don't need the file scroll. We can get rid of that. We have our window size. Yeah, this is actually good. This is exactly what we have, but the names we wanna. Oh, come on. The label. This will be check the API. So we have copy reconstructed image. Yes. Then we have the label original image. And we show label have a PSNRDB. They will be here. PSNRDB. This will be original image. Reconstructed image and PSNRDB. No. Remove that. I can make it Windows 16. 16 significant digits. Right. Larger. This will be part of the output, right? So I can split them this way. Losing my voice, was talking too much. Talking way too much. This window. So the input, we have bits, which could be, yeah, we don't need the decimal points. We have bits. Need to make better explanation for this. We have levels. Make that one levels, bits, levels, wavelet, and image. Can go up there, can go down here. Eventually we can just hide that for now and leave it. Have levels, wavelet, and image. Yeah, there's a bug in this thing. Delete. Oh no, it does work. Sorry, it's too quick to judge. Wavelet. Default. At the last input and then have defaults sorted out. So 4 inputs. So this one will be a tricky one. Would be the default should be 1, 2, 3. Just yeah, we don't like magic numbers, and the actual thing should go all the way from 1 to 1 to 1, 3, 4. Join in. Hello, hello. There is also a Zoom room where you can see the same thing if you want to join live or ask a question or just be my was it producer, so I can just talk into my ear if you are into that. I'm just making this API, and we were setting the default and threshold for this thing for the image number be 1 to 1 and maximum is 134. Just how many images we have in the example. So why is it? No, it's the default bits. So default should be 880. No, not 6, 8, 8, and 0. What? 8. Okay. Maximum. It's the maximum bit. Like 100. Minimum 0. Default 8. Reinitialize to default, yes. Levels. Default 8. No, 100. Reinitialize to default. Wavelets. How many wavelets do we have? Is data entry, data format, items. So I have 37. 37 different wavelets. Ideally, we want a drop down menu, of course, but for now, just do that. Default is 0. And at this data entry, it's actually not limited, just not great. Should limit it. That's something. But let's just, we got an error. Event structure error. Okay. We know what this error means. Bits, image, levels. What's this? Don't remember this. Wavelet. What? Sorry, did I just add one? No, yeah, I just added a case by mistake. No, we don't need another case. Timeout is not doing anything because it's actually shouldn't timeout. So this should be -1. Just a magic number for do not timeout. We don't have this value. Bits, image, Let's just start. We need something to create reference image. No size position. Was it value? No, we need it to be signaling. And image 123. Just now way of setting default. Right, what's on earth? Um, the double. I actually need the right precision, don't we? It's the precision is the problem. Because we have them all as a single precision. On top. Okay. For the fixed point. I16, that's a nice find. It's not a fixed point. Just a single precision. Why is it not in the list? To have double precision floating point should have single precision floating point. Okay, but I don't actually think that's where the problem is. With all these warnings. Oops. Uh, so it's actually doing something. I don't know what the colors like that. Don't like it. Don't like the colors like that. Constructed should be on the right. Maybe even in a different block. Be roughly in the middle. 25. It's like saturated. Why can't reinitialize to default? Yes, I can. Why? 133. 1, 2, 1. So it does work. We just want it first. We want it in a grayscale. Right. Just the color. About auto scaling. Right. A show label. Oh, come on. It's funny. It's as if you have more details than the original image. So auto scaling is on. Should we add it as an option? Shouldn't go all the way to 0, is it? Would be limited at 1. Go all the way to. Because the original is. I think the original is 8-bit image. Let's make it. What is it? How many bits is the original thing? But this API is almost ready. Still testing. It's an image compression thing. You can set your number of bits. So that's what, yeah, I just limited it at 1 bit instead of going all the way to 0. So it will look like at 3 bits. And I'm not sure. I thought this would be an 8-bit image, but it's actually probably 16 or so because, well, the PSNR, this measurement for compression, is still going higher. Let me make it, just make it back to 100 again. Just test it. I'll leave the intervals. Yeah, the intervals of, say, intervals of 10, just for a quick test to see if the. By the way, this is. So yes, the PSNR keeps increasing, which is. Yeah, it got saturated at 296. So the bits ratio should probably go up to 60. And shall we make a slide out of it? We'll do it later. Yes. This image for some reason gives an error. 125 used to work. Right. 60 SNR, PSNR. It's a peak SNR, peak signal to noise ratio between the reconstructed and original image. So normally this is a very large number. They can keep it much lower. So 11 you get already a good PSNR of 56. I think it's legit. Let me change it back to intervals, increments of just 1. So it keeps reverting to that original image. So yeah, with 10 the PSNR drops to 50, 45, 39, 34, 27, 22, 16, 12. Right. Keep it at 3 just so we can see the difference. We can then select different wavelets. So obviously in this case the second one seemed to work bit better than the first one. They actually have names, so this, the image will have a name and the wavelet will have a name. So this would be different wavelet. What are they called? I'll just join the. By the way, there's a Zoom room if you want to join, have a chat. More than welcome to. There's a link in the chat for the Zoom room if you don't want to write comments in here. Yeah, YouTube is not very engaging. You can only, what is it, like, leave a comment. But if you really want to engage, please use the Zoom link, which did I forget to put in the chat? No, it is in the chat. I can't. Right, my window wasn't large enough. I do see it now. Okay, so making this API, so we created this out of an example in LabVIEW, which is the API. You can call it from here. I should document those properly, but that's the API call. You can copy paste this into any browser. Like this, I already did. And it will give you the raw data in a JSON file form of the PSNR in DB and the original reconstructed image. The original image, but doesn't have any decimal points, which is good. This one does, and probably doesn't need to. It is instead of a double precision, it is a single precision. That makes any difference. So that would be an API GET request in GE Web Development Software. So you have the name of the domain, the name of the API, the 4 inputs in this case, bits, levels, wavelet, image. Then you have your 3 outputs, reconstructed image, original image, and PSNR, the peak signal to noise ratio. Should add all those in the comments here. Yeah, what LabVIEW functions are used and descriptions. But we're still testing this at the moment. Some of the images just do not work. Well, that's because this is not running. Yes, obviously for different type of images. So say the 3 bits for this previous image, you could still reconstruct something useful. But for this, it's a mammogram. With 3 bits, yeah, you don't get anything useful at all. I guess because the image itself is way more detailed. By the way, we'll have another example of this. Instead of wavelet a reconstruction, we will use independent component analysis for reconstructing images and storing the reduced a compressed version of the image. So for this one to get something useful, we need at least 5, probably 6 bits. I don't know why with 5 bits oops, with 5 bits you get this thing here, which is not present in the original image. It's just an example of where you have to be really careful with compression, because yes, if this was a medical thing, you would have probably misdiagnosed. And the wavelet transform itself makes a lot of difference. This is the shape of the wavelet token. So interestingly, some of them will work better for certain images than others. So just keep that in mind, and then you have the metric of peak signal to noise ratio for how close this reconstruction to the original, essentially. And yes, when you increase the number of bits, this number keeps going up. This is not available on the site yet. Now, if you it's not on Bionic Chaos yet. Hopefully, later today or tomorrow, we will have it up and running. At the moment, we're just doing a bit more. Oops, bit more testing. Headphones are killing me. Please do let me know if there's any questions or you want to join in live or a chat. That will be great. So these bits can be turned into something. That yeah, horizontal slider is probably why I can't change its thickness. It's and it deleted my what was it 60 to 1, no, to 1 with a default of let's make it 5. And do we need to make it horizontal. Ideally, we wanna, like on my screen, I want to everything to fit into one screen, so it looks. I have this super long screen. Let's just check how it looks like in the browser. This is what it will look like in the browser. Yeah, the PSNR, they're saturating at 296. Use the keyboard up and down, left and right works as well. Just clear. Oh, come on. Yeah, had some errors before, just clear them up. A image is meant to actually be a name, so similar to to this, whatever that's called. And we want it somewhere. Um, with the same name. These numbers should be um, should be different. They're not 0, 1, 2. We have they that's why we had the error, because there's actually nothing between that goes jumps 1 to 3 to 1 to 7, then 1 3 2. Right, just some sort of bizarre thing. Let me take a print scan for it so I don't have to open it again. And in there, how do I actually change this number? I want to change that number. Probably can be, yes, outside 8-bit number. But I would really like changing that. And what let me what it I have to turn it into something else. This is a list box, isn't it? No, it's an enum list box. Right, then here, can I change that? Oh, come on. Why? Well, obviously the idea was that you able to set this item to whatever you want, but it won't let you do that. I don't want to do anything manually. So what's the difference between enum and ring? It should be floating point internal output is an integer. Cycle for do not change the runtime. The values are predefined and do not change at runtime. So the ring numbers should be not predefined. You can set them to whatever you want, right? A create reference size items and values. Add indicator string value. What? Image ring. So this should be fingerprint. It's an image, yes, and the value should be 1 to 1. I can't change it. Iris. Flower, this is just a flower. Then we have a mammogram. I want to probably put it first up the list. So you have a lake. And put. I did it a couple times before. The G web development software will crash on me. It didn't crash now, which is great. So remember those. So we have these numbers. Thing is, we want to manually set those. So if I change this to constant, oops, no, change this to right down there, put this up here, and the margin should be 1, 2, 3, fingerprint 1, 2, 1, the flower 1, 2, 2, and the lake 1, 2, 7. There is more, but let's just stick to that for now. Make that larger. Leave that. Image to this number. So instead of the regular number. We'll use that. If it works. Right, we need to also add image 2 in here. Right, does work. That's great. Stop with the like. Yeah, it looks like a low res to begin with. The mammogram works. We get rid of link to. Is there a link to? No. Yeah, we can get rid of it. What should be just image, create reference. 1, 2, 3. What? One sec. Come back in a second. Sorry for that. Yes, we have the Zoom room if you want to if you want to join for a chat. What is value? Wait, weird. Right, this is better. Create. So this will be the first value. What? Just double error. Valid source. Okay, can fix that. We know what that. So we got beats. Yes, image levels. Wavelet. That's pretty much it. does this should know it should be similar to, just put it up here. Oops. We want a value signaling just so the so we do have an image on the screen when we run it the first time around. This ping terms and values value the could be 1 2 3. Oh, the 0 didn't work. Problem. Run, but what? It's some sort of weird. Sometimes this thing where you probably need to it does work. What are the levels? And why is it? So it's 1 to 3 by default. I don't know why this 1 to 3 just should show that. It should be the same thing. So it's have this is can change that as well. Weird the way it works. And the levels, check levels. The discrete wavelet transform, the wavelet filter. Why is that wavelet input not taking this? Take it offline. So I shouldn't be saying it. I hate when people say take it offline. Not offline, I just should do it next time. Actually, code name for probably not gonna make much more progress with this. So just get back to it next time. Unless someone has a specific question or something. So this is what it looks like by now. More or less, looks more or less presentable. You have the beats scale up here, all the way. It goes all the way to 60. I'm not sure if it has to be that high. Around 10 or so, you start getting a significant compression of the image. So you have the original image on the left, reconstructed image on the right, and importantly, you have this PSNR value, which is the peak signal to noise ratio in decibels, and when around a 25, 30 or so, well, for different images, it's different. So the lowest it goes down to 12. By the way, you can control this scale up and down with your mouse. Obviously, when it's when the PSNR is around 10, you still get not anything useful. Same with what is it, 3 bits, which correspond to PSNR of 16. Then get 22, and around 25, the number of bits here. Why don't we show the actual? Well, first of all, this can definitely be a signed integer, sorry, unsigned of 8 bits. Digits of precision, no. 0, that's okay. Now, can be tick marks, can be major, show scale, yes. Why does this doesn't work? Show value tooltip. You would, this just should show the actual number of this thing. Should be up there somewhere, shouldn't it? Same with, so we have the wavelet. We have the levels, and this one we want a separate box. Box, yeah, something like that. That's okay. Now, why is this 1, 2, 3? It should be, that value should be just 0. No, does work with 1, 2, 3. So that value is the value. Yeah, go. So it should be somewhere over the PSNR value. Checking my microphone noise levels. Right. Quickly check it in the browser. Oh, that's not cool, is it? I need this to scale. Doesn't scale the size. How would it be on a touch screen? We do. Have this large screen, but then yeah, I need to make it work on a smaller one. These images do resize height and width, which is okay, but that also means um, this probably should be about half. Should we make it horizontal? Place it on another. This thing doesn't scale though. Whatever I see on my screen is not the same. Yeah, in the browser it will then get cut out. Why can't it scale? Yeah, okay, I'll sort it out later. Look at the image. Why is it so heavy on my CPU? Can you hear the it's crossing to like 10% CPU, which is quite a bit. Right, this wavelet should be in names as well. There's no easy way to generate this, which is unfortunate because I don't want to enter all the names manually. I do need a string, an array of a string and a value like this. Would be handy. How do I export it from LabVIEW? Put this image here. Oops. Yes. I want to change that, do I? Yeah, with that many, I'm happy to add them with this many. What is it? 37 of them. I need to export it into a file. Create. Oh, come on. Variable reference property node. Bind data binding property node it should have data socket description, digital display, items, strings, string text. No. You can tell how much more options Lev you got. Indicate just run this for a sec. Strings. No. Yep, that's the string. These strings we could, and I'll need the string and value. Well, the value will be the that the value, yeah, that is the value. These items, yeah, because it's just from 0 to 37. Yeah, you can change it in LabVIEW. And just tells you how much more powerful it is. But this string is interesting because this is exactly what I need. How do I string to, you can place it into an array, you can write to file, string Latin. The spreadsheet. Want to put it into a spreadsheet? No. Want to put it into some sort of text file? Yes. You just write it to file. What? How will I then? I just need to copy it once. Yeah, I have to search how to do it. I don't want to do it manually. I'll do it offline and get back to it when I know how to do it. So if there's no, doesn't seem like there's questions, nothing in the chat, no one on Zoom, I'll then see you in a bit. Bye.